Justine Bateman. I think she was the girl on Family Ties.
Justine Bateman, who rose to fame in the 80s sitcom Family Ties.
With Michael Keaton or whatever his name was. Oh man, Michael J. Fox. Dang it. He was a liberal who played a conservative kid, and she, come to find out, is a conservative who was playing a liberal kid. So now if you're all confused, welcome to Doug TenNapel channel. This is Exile, my people. Has Exile ever been better? Under the Trump admin, go get him, boy. You're my guy. She's talking about a huge tectonic spiritual shift in America. I want to know if you guys feel anything in the chat below. First, listen up.
But what I'm really excited about is that the political correctness, the sort of woke era is over.
Okay, number one, is political correctness dead? Because I smelled a murder on election night where political correctness just kind of goes poof. Like, who cares anymore? It lost its power. It lost its strength. Just no one cares. What Democrat politician is ever going to say, we need to provide government-funded trans surgeries for illegal criminals? What, you know what I mean? Can you imagine that? I can't.
Because you need mob mentality momentum in order to keep that going, in order to threaten people if they're not thinking and talking the way you do, to threaten their lives, threaten their careers, threaten their place in society. You need that momentum in order to do that. And when Trump won presidency again, that cut that momentum off.
So there was this huge cultural push, and I would argue this has been going on, I would say for about 20 years is when I first started getting pushback. When my career ended in Hollywood, in comics, in video games, you know, it sputtered out a little bit independently after that, but mostly it's like you saw it coming. Like, these people were going to fire you. This is back when I found out if you voted for Bush. This is back in the Bush-Cheney era. And then Romney was a big deal, and McCain was a big deal. And then if you voted for Trump, like that was it. You know, that was it. Now, Trump wins again, and the Democrats lied to everyone through all of their media outlets. And it's like they got everything just cut off, chopped off with that election, where everyone, both sides, realized that the left and media was lying to them, a giant fire hose, whether if it was Kamala Harris was winning, or that her side's positions were good, or that Trump was sharp as a tack, or that Kamala was intelligent enough to run for president when everyone hated her, or that Trump was a felon and was so bad he was, quote, beyond the pale. And obviously Americans did not find him beyond the pale. You know what I mean? The Democrats were doing like, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
And now they're all divided and arguing with each other, and they're not on offense. They're canceling each other.
And anytime the Democrats are eating each other, they're leaving us alone. So I just want to encourage all of them to keep arguing over why Kamala lost. I want them to keep attacking each other, going, oh, we should have stayed on economic issues. And oh, now we have to go and fight Trump's appointments. Yeah, good. Go get him. You're not fighting Trump if you're fighting his appointments.
I'm talking about, yes, things have changed politically, obviously, but it's spiritual. It's a spiritual shift.
Okay, so now Justine Bateman goes all woo-woo on the spiritual side. And this is where I go, well, you know, that's how she would put it, okay? I do feel something. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys can help explain it. Maybe spiritual is a good word for it. I'm not a spiritual person at all. I don't feel the woo-woo spooky force thing, but I feel something. I mean, something changed on election night. You can sit here and is it just that I got my way? Maybe. Is it just that I thought America, that like the woke mind virus hadn't gone farther in America than I thought it was? And on election night, you realize, no, a whole bunch of Americans did not buy that stupid sucker fool belief system. Maybe that's it. But how would you describe it? What happened? What are you feeling? Because I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but I feel something.
It started a little bit when Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X.
And we definitely documented that. I saw that as tectonic. We were first to go report on. Everyone else was going like, hey, Doug, get on the machines and the ballots. And I go, guys, Elon Musk bought Twitter. Free speech is saved. If free speech is saved, we're allowed to talk online about Trump and put out a counter narrative to the gaslighting that all the media does. And it ended up being all we needed to get Trump over the finish line. So that is significant. And it did start with Elon Musk. They lost him. It was the Biden administration overplayed a weak hand. can. They attacked all of his companies and tried to support all of his competition, and game over.
And it really changed when Donald Trump won this presidency. I can feel it. Definitely.
I can feel it too. There's also an excitement.
I definitely get the excitement. Before I was resigned to go, well, I guess we got to buckle down and get back to work and fight. If Kamala wins, you go, we're going to have to unite, the underground, the resistance. A bunch of us are going to go to jail. We're not going to be able to work as the whole world just malaise is going to set in. Get your prepper food.
And I don't know whether it's about the decisive victory or if it's about the way he's rolling out these cabinet officials. There's a promise in the air where people are expecting major change, and you're kind of on the edge of your seat because you don't know how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen.
I actually see this as really historical. I don't think America's really had a reformation since, I would say, the Civil War. The Civil War, we fought it out, and we had a pretty major reformation. And since then, you've had a whole bunch of bureaucracies explode. The state has exploded, and the people have gotten smaller. And I believe history will look back on this administration, if they accomplish what I think they're going to accomplish. I think we're in for some tectonic, if they really reform like the tax code, the environment, the pushback on the environmentalism, work on health, crush the political correct, state. If they expose all this FBI and CIA secret documents, stuff like that, if they de-wokeify the military, it could be huge. And I'm praying that Trump succeeds. Now I have a little tweet to share with you from DC Drano. If Biden didn't win 2020, we wouldn't have a popular vote mandate to truly reform our country. Remember that, guys, how some were mourning over our loss in 2020. And I was saying, sometimes you lose an election and it's still part of God's plan. We wouldn't have Elon and Vivek slashing trillions of government spending. We wouldn't have Matt Gaetz exposing the Democrat election machine, fraud machine. We wouldn't have J.D. Vance getting ready for 2028. And we wouldn't have Tom Homan organizing the biggest illegal alien deportation program in the U.S. history. It was a brutal 4 years, but it had to happen this way. I just want you to know, most people realize if Trump had won in 2020, he would only have 2 months left in office. And then, and it would have been a huge, probably the next Republican probably would have lost huge and the Democrats would have won. From today through 2028, we'd probably have if Trump won a second election, who knows who it would have been? Might have been Gavin Newsom that ran and won this time against a Republican. Can you guys see now how just because things don't go your way today, and I mean real crushing defeat, that it doesn't mean that God is not sovereign, in control, wins in the end. This is just a tiny symbol. If I can say anything about this election, it should teach us humility about going, because we lost in 2020. There were a lot of people that said God made Trump the anointed and he's still the president in 2020, and they were lying to you. And I get really angry when people lie to my side and get them to believe crazy, stupid conspiracies. Okay. And instead, I just said, I think, maybe Biden won and there's a greater good. I had no idea things would have been this good. And that's a failure of my imagination. And I'm humbled before God, just going, Lord, woo, you're in charge of the future. I'm on board.
Yeah, for the last 4 years, very acutely, and I know it preceded these 4 years as well, but there's been kind of a pressing down.
And that's what I felt for the last, I'd say 20 years. It was sin. It was government oppression. It was cultural bullying that just made me sick. And I go, oh man, if she wins, it's going to get if these people get rewarded, it's going to be terrible. But it's not just bad for individuals. It's also bad for the arts. And I'm an artist.
A pressing down and kind of limiting what people can say. And what happens too is you limit what can even occur in society. And so there's been a stagnation. Things haven't been moving forward in the arts, in philosophy, in politics, in medicine, in anything.
See, when you limit speech, our thinking goes through our speaking centers, by the way. What the left doesn't understand is by their doing cancel culture and making everyone afraid to speak and afraid to express themselves, you don't just affect Republicans. You actually crush Democrats. You crush the arts. You crush poetry. You've crushed science. You crush philosophy. So people in general were exhibiting fear under the crush of the left. And that's another thing that I celebrate under Trump's victory. The stupid liberal artists who they don't realize it, but they're going to be freed in a way, free to be better artists.
It's a brilliant observation. And I've noticed it too, that culture is stuck. They keep making repeats of every movie. Every TV show's a repeat.
So that's my theory on this video. And I'd like to thank Justine Bateman, or whatever her name is, for bringing this up, because I didn't think about it until I saw this segment. So even she opened my mind and clarified me a little bit to what's going on. But I think there's a really big change in the air. I don't know where it's going to go. I only know that we were stuck before and we've been unstuck. And as an artist, philosopher, getting into politics, even on YouTube, I'm way more optimistic than I was before. And I thank God for that. And I'm thankful that Trump won. I'm thankful that the Democrats lost in an absolutely embarrassing, crushing victory because of the kind of impression that they were putting on you and I. I'm Doug, in exile.